What's up, human beings? My name is Damon Samuels, and welcome to the In My Opinion talk show series. You know, as you can see, that my monologues, my vehicular monologues has turned into a dialogue. And today I have here with me director and filmmaker and reggae dancehall artist. No, sorry. No. My brother.
I am not
Chris
a reggae dancehall
Chris Strikes.
What's up?
Yeah, what are you doing? Today, what we're doing, we're going to cover a very underrated aspect of culture, right? And we all know that culture is defined as, you know, a lifestyle with that has complexities: arts, music, religion, food, you know, all those nice things. And we partake in all of that. And you know, we're very versed in it. But I think something that we don't partake in is language, and specifically, we don't pay attention to the syntactic aspect of it. So the syntactic system, which is the verbal language, words, and the way they're put together and the meaning of sentences, we don't pay attention to. We don't really take that seriously. And today, the discussion is going to be surrounding that. Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Mm-hmm. And the way he speaks. So, for example, he has PhD, so he speaks in an intellectual manner, right? So after that, what he does is he brings a certain kind of rhetoric to the intellectuality and the so-called facts that he has, and he channels whatever he's channeling in a certain way, so it kind of plays onto it appeals to your emotions. Mm-hmm. So you say, what he's saying is true, so I'm going to listen to him and I'm going to follow him. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'll go back to Dr. Umar a little bit later on when I get into specific examples of what I'm talking about. But that's what creates what I think is affecting us the most, and that's media bias. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Like, so in the case of that, you're talking about delivery, or part of what people buy into is the delivery of language, as per se the language itself. So the reason why people buy into people like Donald Trump, Rob Ford, mm-hmm. Dr. Umar Johnson, they have a very unique way of speaking. And when I say unique, I mean unique within their realm of space, or within their world, within their industry. So Dr. Umar Johnson, he's a professor, and a doctor that works with, I believe he works with the different...
he's a psychologist.
Psychologist, and he works with the...
He's a clinical psychologist, and I think he's a principal.
Yes, yeah. And so when you listen to him, he speaks very poetically. So he has a very nice rhythm and flow to his speaking. Guys like Rob Ford and Donald Trump, they speak very, let's call it, blue-collar, common man amongst the amongst the roboticness of politics. Like, if you look at Rob Ford, the way he speaks, versus the roboticness of John Tory, the way that John Tory speaks, you know what I mean? So what I think is that there's two elements to that issue of language, where the first thing I think people buy into is delivery. And then the second thing that people buy into, but more than anything they miss out on, I think they miss out on it more than buy into, is content. The actual content. And lawmakers, a perfect example of this is lawmakers, and the legal system is very specific to content, because that's where loopholes come in. Is through the wordage and the language is this and this can happen, or this and this can't happen, and they're very specific about what this and this is, whereas we, the common people, we just speak loosely, and because we use language.
But I think that's a problem, because that's what I'm trying to say. So this is the thing: we get caught up into the style of speech. We get caught up into how he's delivering this speech. Mm-hmm. How am I hearing it, as opposed to what is the rhetoric mm-hmm. in that speech? And I think that's where we get caught. That's one way we get caught. For example, let's go deep into what Umar Johnson does now, right? So I was listening to, he did a video a couple weeks ago I think he was in Memphis. He's about to go give a speech, and he was saying something about people's reaction to Donald Trump's election, right? And he was basically, well, a lot of what he said I agree with. You know, people are acting surprised, like they already know what's going on, right? But he said something interesting, and the interesting thing that he said about the half an hour video that he did was the Obama aspect of it, where he's saying that black people are the ones to be blamed. They gave Obama a pass, they voted for him, and they treated him the way they treated him just because he's black, right? And that's a problem, because they didn't hold him accountable for anything that he did. But he did something for other minority groups. For example, and he gave an example of LGBTQ. Obama did pass bills for that. He gave examples of Latino groups, and he gave examples of immigrant groups, right? So he said Obama didn't do anything for black people, but he did stuff for immigrants. Remember, you have immigrants coming from Africa and the West Indies, right? Those are black people, right? If you're going to make a statement saying that Obama didn't do anything for black people, but he did stuff for immigration, for immigrants, right? Which include people from Africa and the Caribbean, the West Indies, who are black people. To me, right, the language, right, the rhetoric that he's using is that when he speaks about black people, he's only referring to black Americans. And he further went on to say in the same video that black Americans are the number one black people in the world, and they should lead from the front because they're right next to the number one white people in the world. Right? Now, I hear Brother Umar, and I like him. I think he's a very smart man. You know, I give him his props, but I do not appreciate that kind of statement, because to me, that rhetoric is no different from, say, Trump using rhetoric to boost his white supremacist mindset, right? I don't want someone to be preaching to me, I'm black. So when I hear black, I think you're referring to me, right? I'm not American. So now when I realize that your rhetoric is more geared towards what you view as black Americans, right, and not me, then how do you expect me to feel listening to you and following what you're saying? You get what I'm saying? Now, if what you're saying is true and it reflects all black people in the world, then that's fine. It is what it is. But I don't want you to come and you're speaking in general terms and saying black people, when really and truly you mean black Americans. Say what you mean and say what you're saying. And I don't think, if you have an idea of black supremacy, right, that it's fair for you to be arguing against white supremacy, because it's just 6 of one, half dozen of the other. If you feel like black Americans are supreme to everybody else, right, then that's marginalizing me as a Afro-Canadian / Jamaican, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't agree with that. What do you say about that? What's your take?
I think that's very true, and I think in situations like that, whether it's Dr. Umar Johnson or anybody else, I think they do have to be very specific on their words, because there are going to be people who don't fit their description, like how you're saying you identify as Black Canadian Jamaican or Afro-Canadian Jamaican, and you do not identify as American, so you feel left out of the conversation, and that has, like, if we flip it on its head, that has been what has marginalized African people in North America as a whole. The way that white people, when they refer to anything that is white, there's no adjective put in front of it, right? But then when they refer to something that's minority, they add an adjective, right? So it's kind of...
Give an example.
So a perfect example is Hollywood. Any sort of black director like a Spike Lee or Tyler Perry, anything like that, they are now African American filmmakers. They make African American films, and that's how they've always been classified, with that extra adjective on it, as if they're not wholly American themselves, right? Because when you add that adjective in front of it, it's sort of, to me anyways, it dilutes like their inclusion in American. It's like, oh, you're that sect of America, but you're not America. You're this sect of America. You're Asian American. You're Afro American. Whereas when a white director or white actor, they make a predominantly white film, it's just known as a film.
But I think
so. I think so. Like that goes back. Like that is closely tied into when Dr. Umar Johnson says something like black people, but what he really means is African American, because it makes other people feel it makes other black people feel left out. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but this is the thing. This is the problem I have with that is. We like to, let's, for lack of a better word, blame certain things for situations that we find ourselves into as black people. A lot of times, we blame the system, we blame oppression, we blame a lot of things, and something that we do not do. I'm not saying to blame ourselves. That's not the point I'm trying to make. But what I'm trying to make, the point I'm trying to make is that at some point, we have to not accept certain things. So if you're in a category in the Oscars and it says, director, Steven Spielberg, and people, director, name somebody else, I don't know.
Like a white director?
Yeah.
Or a black director? George Lucas.
George Lucas. And then now the category comes and it says African American director, Spike Lee, right? Now, if Spike Lee accepts that position, what do you expect these people who do not care about marginalizing you because you're not a part of their group?
Well, here's the thing.
Here's
the thing, and I can't speak for every black entertainer who gets labeled African American entertainer. I can't speak for all of them. Not everybody accepts that title of African American filmmaker or African American actor. Not everybody accepts that. Even with the word actor and actresses, female actors have stopped accepting that word actress, and now it's like best male actor and best female actor. It's not best actor, best actress, right? So the thing is, I don't think it's fair to say. Hold on. It is. I get what you're saying, and like we have to stop accepting it, and we have to stop, like saying that this is okay to label us as African American, whatever our profession is. But there are so many people now who have been arguing or advocating against that title of African American, and so many people who say, "I am an American. This is an American film. I am an American director. I am an American athlete. I am an American business person." Like, don't put the African American label on it. Like, I am America. I am a part of America. My family is a part of America.
But enough people aren't saying that though, Chris.
I don't know if it's enough people are saying that, or if we're just not hearing it, the camera or the light is not being shed on it. Because it's like one of those things where it's one of those things.
That's what we're trying to do right now. Language. True. We're trying to shed some light on how people accept and hear.
But here's how I would bounce back on that. So your name is Damien. So let's say you're working for a white employer, and you're like, "My name is Damien," and he's like, "Hey, Darrell." He's like, "No, my name is Damien." "Hey, Darrell." "No, my name is Damien." "Hey, Darrell." "No, my name is Damien." "Hey, Darrell." Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's also that side of it as well too, where the people who will hang on to the words African American, the people like white people or non-black people, they will still hang on to that.
But okay.
Even as much as you have guys like Spike or whoever else is saying, like, we are American, like, we are classified as American. You don't need to distinguish us as African.
If my white boss asked me my name and I said my name is Damien, and the next day he comes and he says, "Hey Daryl, how are you doing?" I'm not answering. Who are you talking to? Why do I have to answer? He can't do anything to me. That's not my name. And that's what I'm saying. So we always.
Would you rather ignore it or would you rather correct him?
Okay, so say for argument's sake, say I give you the second day, and I say I correct him again. I said, "My name is Damien." Again. I'm telling you, the point I'm trying to make is that I don't have to respond to Daryl. My name is not Daryl. My name is Damien. So if you call me that, I don't know who you're talking to. I'm going to do whatever I'm doing. Right? So from there, we can get that. A lot of times we want to be a part of something so badly that it comes down to I have to make a decision between, do I marginalize myself by protesting in any way, shape, or form, or do I just say, "Hi, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to go ahead and get this award." You know what I'm saying? And I think too many people are doing the latter as opposed to the former. Why do we accept stuff like that? Like, we always say to ourselves that that's just what it is. So we're just going to play along.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
that's hurting us the most.
Well, and here's the thing to that. Here's the thing to that. Like, specifically in the example of Americans, for so long, African Americans weren't classified as even human, weren't classified as American, and this is going back to like slave times and all that stuff, right? So I think at the beginning of when they get that title, African American, I think that's a celebration that we're now American, right? But I think we've gotten to a time where we've evolved past that, but like, that's a personal belief of mine. I don't know if every African American or every Asian American or South Asian American or every adjective American, I don't know if every adjective American believes that yet, where they have evolved past adjective American. So I think that's where you get the acceptance from, where you still have the masses who are okay with it, don't see a problem with it. They're not privy to it being a problem. They're not privy to it being marginalized, to them feeling marginalized. Like, there's some people that won't at all get offended to be calling African American. They'll be like, "Yeah, I am African American." Like, you know what I mean? Like, the specific term African American means different things to different people, but whereas one person might say, "Yeah, I'm an African American," the other person may say, "Yeah, I'm African heritage, but I'm an American. I'm just an American. Like, just call me an American," right? So I think it's just that difference of opinion.
This is a discussion series called "In My Opinion," and we're hoping to carry this forward, every so often, so that we could, bring up issues that will spark conversations, and then with the hope of, again, sparking a discussion, a wider discussion, so that we could attack issues that are affecting us directly and indirectly. Because a lot of times we take it for granted that we know what's really going on, and because something is affecting me, that's just what the problem is, and that's not what it is at all. We need to get a wider consensus of what's going on so we can understand what affects our community, because our community needs help, right? I see it on a daily basis where the mindset of people is just way off. It's not the mindset that other groups are using to win, right? So if you need to read a book, read a book. If you need to, nowadays you don't even have to read a book. You can watch a documentary on YouTube, and it gives you information the same way. You can watch a cartoon and it gives you information. Just think critically, right? And this is why we started with the language, because the way language is perceived, right, is not, it has an effect on the way we think and how we move forward, right? So, my name is Damon Samuels, and this is Chris Strikes. Thanks, brother. That was
Thank
a
you.
great discussion.
That was a great conversation.
And you know how it is. So, don't forget, Harriet Tubman always used to say, I have freed many slaves, but I could have freed many more. Only if they knew they were slaves. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, In My Opinion.